let's start first for the regionalism or regional multilateralism in Asia is becoming a significant aspect of the international relation maintained in its region. Regionalism in Asia developed towards the end of Cold War with the creation of various regional institutions for nearly 2 decades after the 1980s.
Organizations built on the verge of Asian regionalism. The Association of Southeast Asian Nations or ASEAN was born on 1967 with 5 original members: Indonesia, Malaysia, Thailand, Philippines, and Singapore, aiming to consolidate Southeast Asia against communism. We all know that communism is somehow the government owns all the businesses and properties and the means of growth. The ASEAN was an outgrowth of the stillborn Seattle idea, which was envisaged as an Asian NATO. So first, what is Seattle? Seattle, or Southeast Asia Treaty of Organization, founded on September 8, 1954 with 8 members, but only 2 of them are located in Southeast Asia, which is Thailand and Philippines, also aiming to prevent communism. So, in short, kumuha ng idea yung ASEAN or nabuo ang ASEAN dahil sa idea ng Seattle na nag-aim about sa communism. In 1997, Japan, Korea, and China were added to be part of ASEAN. Though they are not part of the Southeast Asia, but the ASEAN considered them because they are the major economic engines of the organization. Meaning, sila yung magsusupport sa organization ng financial infrastructure. The 3 countries joined the ASEAN because they wanted to enhance the cooperation with major economies of Asia against the backdrop of economic globalization, and also to benefit each other and talk comfortably.
Concepts of regionalism. Hetne or Bjorn Hetne in 1996 suggested that regionalism as a concept has varying degrees. First one, region as a geographical unit. A region can be interpreted as a place or as a physical environment. For example, we can determine Asia as a region based on the land and water boundaries surrounding it. We all know that Asia is the largest and most populous continent in the world, and it is located in the eastern and western hemisphere. And also, it is rich in natural resources such as water, land, forest, fish, and so on. Second one is region as a social system. A region can be interpreted as a conglomerate of people occupying a particular space and possessing unique dynamics of interaction. For example, Asia can be determined as a region based on the group of people occupying it and the shared ancestry, language, and culture these people have. Sabi dito, we can determine Asia as a region batay sa pangkat ng mga taong sumasakop dito and also yung ibinahagi ng ating mga ninuno, pati na rin yung wika at kultura na meron tayo. Good example here is dito sa Pilipinas. We have Filipino culture. We are known as very religious and tayo din yung mahilig mag-value ng cultures and traditions. Especially sa family, napaka-importante ng traditions. Lastly is region as an organized cooperation. A region can be interpreted as a group of nations who agree to take part and form a formal organization. For instance, Southeast Asia is a region within Asia, and it has been formalized through membership in the Association of Southeast Asian Nations or ASEAN. Sabi lang dito na ang region ay isang pangkat ng mga bansa na bumubuo ng formal organization or samahan. For example nga is yung Southeast Asia. Ito ay region na nakapaloob sa loob ng Asia At ito ay formalize na dahil ito ay ganap ng kabilang sa pagiging kasapi ng Association of Southeast Asian Nations or ASEAN.
Asia is the largest and most populated continent in the world. Geographically, it is separated from the European continent by the Urals. So yung nagsiseparate ng Europe and Asia is yung Urals. Yung Urals ito ay mountain range from Russia. Okay, next. Asia has also been the home of influential cultural, philosophical, and religious movements. So, malaki ang naging influence sa buong mundo ng mga culture and religion na nanggaling sa Asian countries. In culture and globalization in the region, Asia has been the source of a wide variety of cultural phenomena that have spread outward to the Western countries and the rest of the world. So, katulad lang nung huli, yung culture daw ng Asian countries is malaki ang naging influence sa Western countries and then later on sa buong mundo. So in conclusion, sinasabi dito na ang Asia, ang mga bansa ng Asia rather, ay malaki ang naging influence sa buong mundo.
So without further ado, let's proceed to the dynamics of Asian regionalism. According to the Asian Development Bank on 2008, it identified some factors that are influential in the integration of Asian nations. So the first one is the enhanced dialogue between citizens of various nations. This is facilitated by growing tourism activities in the regions and consistent multilateral meetings among leaders of nation-state. So here it has 2 points. The first one is the growing tourism activities, and the second one is the multilateral meetings among leaders of nation-state. To give you more insight about the multilateral meetings here, to give you example of this one is the ASEAN, the Association of Southeast Asian Nation, which Philippines belongs to also. And here the leaders of the the leaders of the states rather gathers to talk about the economy of each respective states. And then for the other one is the tourism activities. For example, is the K-drama hotspots, Korean foods, animes. We go there. We immerse ourselves in that specific or particular experience. We exchange dialogues and converse with the natives, people who lives there. And then for the next one, or the second one, is the expanding of inter-regional trade and investment. So this bring forth closer financial markets and independent economies. So this one is really helpful kasi hindi ka na mahihirapan mag-import at export. Hindi ka na rin mahihirapan maghanap ng resources kumbaga kasi mas mababa din yung tariff kung dito lang din sa economic zone natin. So we can help each other. And it increased the level of trade, commodity exchange between themselves, which reduces tariff barriers associated with foreign markets. So it is much easier. And then lastly, we have the increased connectivity. This is facilitated by regional infrastructure projects as well as delivering public goods. So let's say yung ASEAN is it's the main point of ASEAN, or the aim of the ASEAN is that the economic growth ng mga members ng ASEAN. So with that economic growth, the one who will benefit from there is the people of the states. Lalo na yung mga unfortunate ones, yung mga nakatira sa mga, yung wala talagang yung basic necessities, walang tubig, walang ilaw. So doon din sila yung makaka-benefit. So yun yung goal mismo ng increased connectivity. Para lahat tayo mismo, the people of the states will benefit from that economic growth. So let's go back. So the dynamics of Asian regionalism is the enhanced dialogue between citizens of various nations, which has 2 points, growing tourism activities and multilateral meetings among leaders of nation states, and expanding intra-regional trade and investment. And then lastly, the increased connectivity.
So, I'm Winona May Barry, and I'm going to discuss the benefits of Asian regionalism. So we have actually listed down 5 main points. So for the first one, link the competitive strength of its diverse economies in order to boost their productivity and sustain the region's exceptional growth. So one mere example regarding this concept is through the economic ties of our country or other countries to its neighboring country. For example, in ASEAN, since we are part of ASEAN, diba? So through that, other countries were able to help us, or especially the other developing countries, may it be in terms of investment or imports and exports. Mm, just just also like just also what happened a few years ago, diba? Philippines was appointed to organize the ASEAN, and from what I remember, China invested a lot of money to our country. So that's one thing. And for the second concept, which is the connect the region's capital market to enhance the financial stability. So in capital markets, we actually have two common markets which we commonly known as the stock market and the bond market. So if the bond or the stock market are doing great, it also means that the economic stability or the financial stability of a certain country are also doing well. So if the country is able to connect the region's capital market, it will also add up to the factor that the economic status of the country is good. So for the third one, which is cooperate in setting exchange rate and macroeconomic policies in order to minimize the effects of global and regional shocks. So, diba, one of the main goals or aim of regionalism is to have a formal economic arrangements and economic cooperations through different countries. So, if this is present, there could be there could be a chance na malesen yung problems na pwedeng mag-arise between countries because there is the understanding and the ties between the countries. So, for the fourth one rather, pool the region's foreign exchange reserves. So from what I know, the pool means in business is the union of different countries. Of different companies pala. It is the union of different companies that has the aim to make the profit to enhance the profit pala. So pool the region's foreign exchange reserves. So if they were able to enhance the profit, the economic status of the country would be good also. Because there is the union, so there is a bigger chance na mas malaking profit, and there is a bigger chance na ma-influence yung or mas spread yung the what do you call this, the business aspects, something that has to do with the business that would make the profit grow bigger, branch out, or anything that has something to do with it. So the last one, exercise leadership in global decision making. So here I think it is very present and manifested whenever there is international organization meeting, or ayun, tulad nga ng may mga ASEAN, APEC meetings, because there is a negotiation that is happening there. So, if you were able to exercise the leadership and make good decisions for your country, I think that's one of the best qualities na masasabi mo na talagang, diba, you have done something great for the countries in terms of improving the economic stabilities. If maraming nag-invest sa country na to, and years after it was able to gain more profit, then it will help a lot to the country's economic status. But that is just one a mere example. So yeah, so that's that, the benefits of Asian regionalism. Thank you.
The first challenge of Asian regionalism is number one, there is a need to establish compatible product. If we remember, Asia is composed of many different kind of states or nations inside it. For example, Philippines, Japan, Korea, Indonesia, and you can name many more. And each of these countries create products that depends or directly proportionate to their culture, their diverse beliefs, and many more factors. And each of these nations have different products based on what we have said earlier. And for example, in Japan, they eat ramen, sushi, while in Korea, they eat kimchi, while in Philippines, we eat mostly rice and other stuffs like ulam, bayan, like adobo, many more. You can name many more. And each of these products are dependent to our culture and what we have grown up with. And each country in Asia, as the world as Asian regionalism create more interconnectedness with each and every countries, they need to create compatible products that that can be used, not only food, but many more products that can be used not only in the country of not only in their own country, but also in other countries. And that is the first challenge. The second challenge for Asian regionalism is number two, there is a need to establish guidelines that buffer financial contagion and ensure compatible financial regulations. As we said earlier, Asian regionalism creates more interconnectedness with different countries that belong to Asia. And without directories or guidelines, they would find themselves in circles managing their finances, and it would later on make Asian regionalism crumble. That is why such guidelines are needed to maintain their financial contagion. And they need to ensure compatible financial regulations. And when we say compatible financial regulations, these are sets of rules and regulations that may be imposed to the countries of Asia, but are fair in each and every country. And that is the second challenge for Asian regionalism. Moving on to the third challenge that Asian regionalism faces is number three, there is a need to coordinate macroeconomic policies. If we are aware, Asia is such a rich country. Like, let us take our country, for example, Philippines. We are aware that we have so many natural resources that can be utilized for our economy. We are one of the number one suppliers of bananas, mangoes in different countries, or even to the Western countries, not only in Asia. And that is only Philippines. But if we take Asia, the whole Asia, for example, it has a really vast resources that can be utilized for its economy. That is why it is a major challenge for Asian regionalism to coordinate macroeconomic policies. And if we've noticed, the word used is macro. It means big, because Asia have really big economy. That is why they need to create certain policies for each and every country to manage our economy properly, the whole economy of Asia properly. And that is the third challenge. The last challenge of Asian regionalism is number 4, the need to manage cross-border environmental and social policies. If we have seen or noticed, Asian regionalism is pro-globalization, which means it allows globalization, especially in Asian countries. That is why different countries in Asia, as Asian regionalism emerge, it welcomes them in their country, either to migrate, to work, to start a family, or to be just a tourist in their country. And this could impose a really big challenge for Asian countries, because different people from different nation are entering their country, and they need to create policies that protect these people's rights. For example, for migrant workers, their labor and employment rights; for tourists, to be welcomed in a country with free from racism or discrimination, and many different more. And not only that, not only social policies are created, but also environmental policies. That is why there are such organizations that are created like ASEAN, which they tackle different issues that are relevant to their country's issues. And they need to tackle this because it is very important for the sustainability of Asian regionalism. And that is all the challenges of Asian regionalism. Thank you.